What happens when a world-renowned actress and UN ambassador goes head-to-head with America's most outspoken daytime host? What started as a cordial conversation quickly spiraled into one of the most intellectually charged confrontations daytime television has ever seen. From probing questions about her activism to cutting critiques of her public image, the clash built until the studio was left in stunned, thoughtful silence. The View studio always felt like a sunlit town square, a bright amphitheater ringed with camera lenses and curious eyes. The new set shimmered in cream and brass, the table glowing beneath a halo of downlights. The audience, caffeinated and eager, hummed like a beehive. Whoopi rolled out first to her anchor chair, sliding her reading glasses down to smile at the crowd. Joy followed with a brisk wave, the kind that doubled as a warning. She was in excellent form. "Good morning, everybody," Whoopi purred. "We've got a very special guest today, actress, activist, UN Women Goodwill Ambassador. You know her from a few small things." The audience chuckled. "Please welcome Emma Watson." She entered with an air of practiced grace, in a tailored blazer and trousers, a thoughtful smile that seemed effortlessly genuine. The audience rose, cheering with the earnestness daytime TV specializes in. Emma offered a serene wave, a perfectly calibrated, "Thank you for having me." Whoopi set the tone. "We're happy you're here," she said, leaning forward, palms open. "We start with love around here." She gestured to a chair between Joy and Sunny's empty seat and across from Sarah and Alyssa. Emma sat, smoothing the lapel of her blazer with two fingers, a small practice gesture that read like punctuation. Joy cocked her head, that famous skeptical tilt. "Well, let's get right to it, huh?" she said, light but edged. "Because I know our audience has questions." The audience whooped. Live television loves a promise of intellectual spice. Whoopi gave Joy a half smile that said, "Let's not scorch the pancakes too early." "First things first," Whoopi said to Emma, her voice low as velvet. "Life, you've moved. You've got new projects. How is the work-life balance treating you these days?" Emma's smile warmed a degree. "It's a constant process of finding equilibrium, isn't it? My focus now is on projects that have a deeper purpose, but also finding space for myself." "Sounds very intentional," Sarah chimed in, earning a polite laugh. Cameras captured Emma's profile, her chin lifted just enough to read as poise. Joy didn't laugh. She watched, eyes narrowing slightly, like a jeweler searching for hairline cracks. "Okay then," she said, flipping a blue card. "Since we're being honest, let's get into the work that really matters to you. As an activist, you've spoken a lot about gender equality and fairness. But what does it feel like to lecture people on equity from a position of immense privilege? I mean, the real America, not a gilded cage." A hinge somewhere in the room creaked shut. Emma's expression remained unchanged, a half-beat hardly there. But Joy saw it. "Joy," Emma replied, her voice silken, "are you suggesting that one's ability to advocate for equity is invalidated by one's financial success?" Joy's smile sharpened. "I'm asking if it's easier to be an activist when you don't have to worry about paying for groceries, because folks are having a hard time listening to lectures from a cliffside mansion in Montecito." Whoopi slid a palm between them, an old-school crossing guard. "We're all worried about the cost of groceries," she said. "We just complain about it online." A ripple of laughter broke the tension, but the air didn't quite clear. Emma re-squared her shoulders. "Advocacy isn't an exclusive club for the financially insecure," she said. "In fact, I would argue that it's the responsibility of those with a platform to amplify the voices of those who don't have one." "That sounds like a mission statement," Joy said, setting her card aside as if to say, "Let's speak plainly." "Speaking of missions, some people feel like you've been a little too outspoken about your politics and less about your acting lately. People talk. They always do. Anything you want to clear up?" Emma's smile thinned. "I find rumors tend to evaporate when we stop blowing on them," she said. "My platform is an extension of my identity, not a separate project. The work matters to me. We're adults. I don't require chaperones to discuss what's important to me." Sarah glanced at Alyssa. Alyssa studied her coffee cup like it contained the nuclear codes. Whoopi nodded a soft, "Moving on." But Joy wasn't finished. Okay, but you have to admit the optics, Joy started. Joy? Emma cut in gently, a delicate blade wrapped in velvet. I admit nothing except that I'm not here to feed tabloids through the vending machine. If people choose to focus on my personal life over my professional work, that is their choice, not my responsibility. The audience let out that collective ooh that daytime producers love. A soundtrack tag that meant, uh-oh, this might get good. Whoopi leaned back, a captain feeling gusts shift across the deck. Let's pivot, she said. You've got a new initiative launching, education, digital literacy. That's good stuff. What's the goal? Emma brightened, but only slightly. It's about empowering young people, particularly girls, to control their narrative in the digital space. Joy twirled a pen. Controlling your narrative seems to come up a lot with you. Because it matters, Emma answered, heat rising a degree. For years, my narrative was shaped by people who never met me. And some of us have, Joy said, not blinking. We still have questions. Whoopi placed her pen down. Joy? What? Joy said, palms up. I'm being polite. That's Joy's version of polite, Whoopi told Emma with a grin. The audience laughed gratefully, steam vented, kettle intact. For the moment, Emma's answer came crisp. Questions are fine. Assumptions aren't fair. Sarah said quickly, can I ask a purely logistical one? No tabloid cloud. She waited for Emma's nod. As a child star, how do you manage the public and private sides of your life now? We talk about that a lot on this show. Instinct and boundaries, Emma replied. My younger self didn't apply for fame. I inherited scrutiny. We're careful. Joy tapped her card again. Careful or curated, she asked. Both, Emma returned. Like most public people, like most television shows. She smiled at the set. It didn't reach her eyes, including this one. The audience laughed in patches. Some oohed again. Alyssa said, well, she's not wrong, which pulled a few nervous claps. Whoopi steered towards a safer harbor. Okay, let's talk about the business. Everyone hears about these big deals and decides they're finance experts. Are you developing more content for Netflix? Emma's brows lifted, a barely there challenge. We develop projects where there's alignment. People love to pretend they understand the details of contracts they've never read. That sounds like a yes, Joy said. That sounds like an answer, Emma countered. Joy's smile thinned. She was good on the draw. Emma was too. Just to be crystal, Joy said, are you asking for a bigger paycheck for the next season? Because some folks think the mission gets blurry when the checks get bigger. Emma's head tilted a fraction. Some folks should find hobbies, she said, the cadence slow, deliberate. Investing in storytelling that uplifts isn't greed, it's strategy. The offstage producer's hands circled the air, break coming. But curiosity, once loosed, refuses a leash. Joy leaned in again, lower voice, higher voltage. You've said you're done with the Hollywood machine, she began. Yet here we are. Every project somehow touches the film industry. Is it that you can't move on or that the audience won't pay attention unless a familiar celebrity is peeking out of frame? Emma's posture went statue still. A small vein ticked at her temple, visible only to the cameras brave enough to punch in tight. I don't tailor my life to appease strangers, she said. My proximity to an institution doesn't obligate me to silence, and it certainly doesn't oblige me to nostalgia. Translation, Joy said lightly. You'll use it when it serves you. Translation, Emma replied. I won't be policed. Whoopi lifted both hands, palms out. Time, she announced, the ring-em calling intermission. We're going to slide it to break. When we come back, more with Emma about her foundation and how we fix the internet before it eats our children. Applause swelled obediently. Music rose. Stagehands swooped with water and powder puffs. Emma accepted a sip, but waved off makeup. Joy shuffled her cards into a new order, jaw working. Whoopi leaned toward Emma and murmured something private. Emma nodded without softening. As the red tally light clicked off, the studio's hum rearranged itself. Lower, throatier. Joy circled a note with her pen 3 times. She didn't look up when Emma glanced over. The truth signaled by the music break felt fragile as spun sugar. A stage manager counted down from 5. Lights brightened, applause returned. Whoopi beamed the audience back from commercial like a pilot easing through turbulence. "We're here with Emma Watson," she said, "talking about kids, media, and all the ways the world is noisy." Laughter. "Joy, you were what?" Mid-interruption. Joy smiled thinly. "I was mid-quest." She turned to Emma, her voice honeyed and honed. "Help me understand something. You say you're done it with Hollywood. Then why, when we scratch the surface of any interview, does the industry fall out? If you truly don't care, why not say no comment, door closed, and mean it?" Emma's chin lifted. When she spoke, the softness was gone. "Because pretending a chapter never happened is the fastest way to repeat it," she said. "Silence protects the status quo, not the people harmed by it." "Or," Joy countered, "silence just keeps dinner civil, which is how the rest of us survive our in-laws." Laughter popped, but it landed crooked. Emma's face didn't move. "With respect, Joy, my in-laws aren't your in-laws," she said, "and my film set came with a tabloid press camped in the shrubs." "Sure," Joy said, "but you also had, what do we call them, staff." The audience laughed a little mean. "Doesn't sound like the gulag." Whoopi shot her a glance. "We're steering," she warned. Emma breathed in slow, as if counting to 3 on the way down from a high dive. "Having staff is not the same as having safety," she said evenly. "It's astonishing how often people confuse proximity to power with actual power." The line landed clean, crisp, memorable, the sort of thing that would clip well for social. A few audience members clapped on instinct. Joy's jaw flexed. "Okay," Whoopi said, decisive. "Let's lighten it. We do pop culture too, not just geopolitics. What are you binging? What makes you laugh?" Emma blinked. She hadn't expected the lane change. "Our house is Paw Patrol by day," she said finally. "And by night, British panel shows, ironically." Joy pounced on British. "Ah, so there is something you miss." Emma's smile was quick and brittle. "Sarcasm travel," she said, "and my sense of humor survived the transatlantic move." Whoopi laughed. "Amen." She glanced down at her notes, then up at Troy, then back to Emma, a triangle of negotiation. "Last one for this block," she said, gentle but firm. "If you could correct one misconception about you, the thing that keeps you yelling at the TV, what would it be?" Emma's answer was immediate. "That I'm a headline with legs," she said. "I'm a person. People evolve. Narratives should too." Joy tapped her pen twice, a metronome ticking toward a key change. "And if the narrative doesn't?" she asked. Emma didn't look away. "Then I evolve without its permission." The audience made that satisfied, "nam" sound daytime viewers deploy when they have just heard a line they might quote to their sister later. Whoopi smiled, shoulders easing. "We'll be right back," she said, with more from Emma. "And yes, we're going to talk about digital safety in schools, so get your notebooks." Music up, applause up, red light off. Joy set her pen down and took a slow sip of water, eyes level with Emma's over the glass. Emma folded her hands in her lap and stared at a point just past the Steadicam. The practiced 1,000-yard gaze of people who have learned to keep their feelings in their bones until the microphone's asleep. Sarah whispered to Alyssa, "You could surf on that tension." Alyssa didn't answer. Whoopi studied both women, calculating the distance to the nearest fire extinguisher. On the monitor, a commercial for laundry detergent filled the screen with bubbles. In the studio, oxygen thinned to something metallic. Everyone knew what daytime television also knew. Polite beginnings are just paper. It doesn't take much heat to char the edge. The floor manager raised his hand again, fingers flaring 5 to 1. The music faded. The applause obediently flared and folded. Whoopi looked into camera 3. "And we're back," she said brightly. "After the break, we're diving into Emma's new project and taking a few questions from the audience." She turned toward the bleachers. "Who's got one?" A hand shot up, a woman in a denim jacket, nerves and curiosity wrestling in her smile. Whoopi nodded. "Go ahead, baby." The woman stood, her voice shaking just enough to be real. "Hi, Emma. I just wonder, do you ever feel like you talk down to people a little? Like we can't understand your side unless we've lived it?" There it was. The room held its breath. Emma blinked, surprised. She looked at the woman, not the cameras. I feel like people talk about me more than me, she said. If I sound guarded, it's because experience taught me to keep my armor close. But I'm here, aren't I? She opened her hands, a small surrender. I'm trying. For a heartbeat, softness returned to the set. Then joy cleared her throat, the sound of a cue ball breaking a rack. Since we're trying, she said, let me try one more time. Clean and simple. You've been a public figure for years. Do you feel a responsibility to your fans who saw you as Hermione? To continue that image, yes or no? The audience made a little whoa noise. Whoopi's eyes closed for one long blink. Emma lifted her chin. I'm not asking that my work be valued, she said. I'm asking that my full humanity be acknowledged. To limit me to a single role from my past is to disrespect the people I've become, and that offends me more than any paycheck. Joy's mouth pressed into a narrow line. She set her elbows on the table and laced her fingers. Here's what offends people, she said softly, and the softness made it sharper. They think you've made a career of lecturing them from a cliffside mansion about how hard your life is. The room temperature dipped. Whoopi sat up straighter. Joy. Emma's eyes flashed. If you think living in the public eye is a lecture, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe tell us something that isn't about being a celebrity, Joy said. Maybe stop asking me about it, Emma shot back. Whoopi slid in the human airbag. We are officially at the break, she announced, even though they weren't. We'll be right back. But as the music rose and the applause tried to swell, nothing in the room moved. Joy's gaze held Emma's like a knot. Emma didn't drop it. The audience, sensing that glittering, dangerous hush that precedes a storm, didn't either. The interview had started with intellectual curiosity. It would not end that way. And as the cameras cut to commercial, everyone on that set understood a simple truth that daytime TV rarely admits aloud. Some stories don't fit inside a segment. Some collide with it, splintering the desk, the script, and the unspoken promise that all hot topics can be cooled with a joke and a cut to weather. They weren't at the weather yet. They were only at the edge, and the next segment would decide just how steep the drop would be. The commercials faded, and the lights of the view flared back to life. Yet the tension that had settled over the studio during part one hadn't lifted. It hung there, dense, electric, and undeniable. Whoopi, sensing the storm brewing, leaned forward, her voice calm but firm. We're back, she said with her trademark composure. And Emma, we were just discussing your digital literacy project, but Joy wanted to finish one question. Quickly! Joy shuffled her cue cards with deliberate force. Quickly, she repeated, though her eyes gleamed with the sharp edge of a blade. Emma, you've painted your journey as one of personal growth. Fine, but is it really about becoming a more authentic version of yourself? Or was it because, frankly, you weren't wanted in mainstream Hollywood? The temperature in the studio seemed to drop 10 degrees. Emma's calm facade thinned, then froze. Joy, she said sweetly, but with venom under the surface. Being wanted by a system that objectifies women isn't the metric I use for building a life. I don't need their applause to breathe. The audience let out a nervous murmur. Joy smirked. All right then, let's address the elephant in the room. You're a feminist icon, and yet you're dating a man. People are whispering about hypocrisy. Care to put that to rest? Emma's jaw tightened. People need better hobbies, she snapped. My private life is private. Two adults having a relationship doesn't require a public statement to define its political alignment. A sharp wave of oohs rolled through the crowd. Whoopi tried to lighten the mood. Love gets busy, folks. Anyone with a partner knows how that goes. But Joy wasn't done. Then let's touch on activism one last time. Do you really not care what your critics think? Not even a little? Emma leaned in, her eyes icy. Institutions don't have feelings, Joy. People do. I care about people. I don't care about protecting a system that tried to define me by a single role. The room went silent for half a beat. Then Joy flipped her card. Done, fine. Let's talk about that UN speech. Rumors say you didn't even write it yourself, truth or spin? Emma laughed without humor. I don't apologize for collaborating with other brilliant minds. Men get a team to write their speeches, and it's called power. A woman does it, and suddenly it's a scandal. Or, Joy fired back, some people see it as cashing in on a movement without doing the work. That was the spark. Emma straightened, her tone sharpening. Some people can't stand to see women make their own way. They'd rather believe I'm surviving off borrowed fame than admit I've built something of my own. The audience gasped, half clapping, half jeering, and then Joy leaned forward, eyes flashing. You know what, Emma? Enough. This smugness, this performance, it's too much. You're not a feminist here. And honestly, without that Hermione name, you're nothing. No one cares, and most people don't even like you. The words detonated in the studio like a bomb. A shocked silence fell. For the first time all morning, Emma's composure cracked. Her lips didn't tremble, but her chin lowered. Her eyes went blank, a flash of pure, cold fury replacing the calm. She didn't cry. Instead, she slowly unclipped her microphone, placed it on the table with deliberate, soft precision, and stood up. You know what? She said, her voice steadying, but with a dangerous quiet. I don't care if people don't like me. I'm not here to be everyone's favorite, but respect costs nothing, and even that's been too much to ask for today. She turned to face the audience, her gaze sweeping the bleachers. I hope you all see what just happened here. An exchange of ideas was reduced to a personal attack because one of us couldn't handle the conversation. She then turned and walked calmly off the stage, her back straight. As she walked off, the audience broke into scattered applause, some even rising to their feet. A few boos echoed, but the overwhelming sound was clapping, a mix of defiance and respect. The camera caught Joy shifting uneasily in her chair. Her lips parted, but no words came. Whoopi turned to face the lens, her face grave. Today's conversation went to a place it shouldn't have, she said firmly. And for that, I apologize to our audience and to Emma. Tough questions don't mean cruel ones, and we all need that reminder. Joy finally leaned into her microphone, her voice subdued. If I came off too harsh, I regret it, she said, choosing each word carefully. That wasn't my intention. But the damage was done. Emma Watson had left the building, a quiet, furious storm. Joy Behar was left to explain herself. And the studio, with millions of viewers watching live, had just witnessed one of the most explosive moments in daytime television history. What began as an intellectual exchange ended as a cultural earthquake, one that would dominate headlines, fuel endless debates, and stain reputations for years to come.